Caesar is now the undisputed leader of the apes. He and his tribe live hidden deep inside the forest, just trying to pass their days in peace. He always wants peace, but the humans won't let him have it. One day, a heavily armed squad of human soldiers infiltrates the deep jungle. Written on their helmets are the words, "Monkey Killer." The soldiers move silently through the thick woods. There is an eerie, dead silence all around. The only sound is the crunching of dry leaves under their heavy combat boots. Their faces are painted in black camo, and their eyes are filled with pure, ruthless aggression. The squad captain raises his hand, signaling everyone to stop. He looks up the hill through his binoculars and spots 3 apes standing guard. Suddenly, a massive hand grabs the captain's shoulder from behind. The captain flinches and looks back, but it's not a human. It's a massive gorilla named Red. Red points toward a hidden, camouflaged trench right under the trees. Yes, guys, Red and a few other apes have actually betrayed their own kind and are now working as slaves for the humans. The captain whispers to a young soldier named Preacher. That one, with the gun, take him out. Preacher silently draws his bow and fires an arrow. Thwack! The arrow violently pierces the guard ape's chest. Before the others can even figure out what's happening, the captain fires a grenade launcher directly into the hidden trench. With a massive, deafening explosion, the trench collapses and dozens of terrified apes scramble out. Right in the middle of this chaos, a brave ape named Spear jumps onto a horse and gallops deep into the jungle, screaming to warn the others. And just moments later, Spear's warning is answered. A massive, terrifying cavalry of apes bursts out from the deep jungle. Breaking the silence of the forest, they launch a brutal surprise attack on the soldiers. The apes don't hold back. They completely surround the humans from all sides. Hiding in the bushes, they hurl massive rocks to keep the soldiers pinned down. Then, they start raining down smoke bombs from the treetops, followed by a deadly shower of arrows and spears. The entire area is covered in thick smoke. The forest literally shakes with the roars of enraged apes and the deafening sound of human gunfire. And leading this charge right from the absolute front is Caesar. In the end, the sheer brutal force of the apes overwhelm the humans. They defeat the squad and capture a few surviving soldiers, including Preacher and the traitor ape, Red. Caesar slowly walks up and stands right in front of the captured soldiers. Preacher, shaking in fear, looks up and asks, "Are you Caesar? The colonel said you were hiding somewhere out here." Caesar looks at him with intense, heavy eyes and says in a deep, booming voice, "I did not start this war. The ape who did was Koba, and I killed him. I fight only to protect my kind." Hearing this, the traitor ape Red arrogantly speaks up. He sneers and says, "The humans will wipe us all out. The colonel is unstoppable. He said first Caesar dies, and then everyone else." Caesar completely ignores Red's arrogant threat. Instead, he turns to his massive gorilla lieutenant Luca and signals, "Let him go, put him on the horses." Every single ape is completely shocked. Caesar looks directly at Preacher and says, "Tell your colonel, this war can end right now. I do not want to kill you. Leave our woods and there will be no more bloodshed." Caesar shows them the ultimate mercy, but he had absolutely no idea that the ruthless Colonel McCullough would never, ever understand the meaning of mercy. As the darkness of that night deepens, the entire forest feels frozen under the cold, chilling touch of death. Inside their hidden cave behind the waterfall, Caesar's oldest son, Blue Eyes, returns with some incredible news. He has finally found a new safe haven for the apes far across the desert. But Caesar knows they just can't move such a massive group right away. Late into the dead of night, while everyone is fast asleep, Caesar suddenly notices something terrifying outside the cave. Green laser sights slicing through the darkness. He instantly realizes the humans have found their home. Colonel McCullough and his elite Black Ops soldiers have rappelled right down to Caesar's secret hideout. They drop grenades from above, and within seconds, the entire area is engulfed in smoke and blazing fire. Fighting through the absolute chaos, Caesar desperately sprints toward his personal quarters. But when Caesar finally reaches his cave, the sight before him literally shatters his entire world. Standing right in front of the waterfall is the ruthless Colonel McCullough himself, and lying completely lifeless on the cold stone floor at his feet are Caesar's wife, Cornelia, and his oldest son, Blue Eyes. The Colonel personally shot and killed them in cold blood. The most tragic part? The Colonel had absolutely no idea he was killing Caesar's family. He thought Caesar was the one sleeping in that bed. Letting out an agonizing scream, Caesar violently lunges at the Colonel. The Colonel quickly climbs up a rope to escape. Caesar frantically climbs right after him, but the Colonel pulls out a combat knife and slices the rope in half. Caesar falls backward and crashes hard into the freezing water below. A little while later, Caesar drags his broken body back into the cave. Looking at the dead bodies of his wife and son, he turns completely numb, frozen like a stone. He then spots his youngest son, Cornelius, hiding behind a rock, shivering in pure terror. Caesar pulls his tiny son tightly to his chest. Suddenly, a primal, heart-wrenching roar erupts from deep within Caesar's soul, a cry of pure, unbearable agony that shakes the entire jungle. Caesar rests his head on his family's lifeless bodies and breaks down in tears. The very next morning, Caesar gathers all the apes and gives them a final order. "You all leave for the desert," he says. "There are no humans there. You will be safe." As the massive tribe starts packing up to leave, 3 apes step out from the crowd and stand firmly by Caesar's side. It's his most loyal friends, Maurice, Rocket, and Luca. Caesar looks at them and says, "You need to go. I am going after the Colonel alone, and I am not coming back until he is dead." But his brothers refuse to let him do this alone. They step right behind Caesar, ready to follow him to hell and back. Caesar straps his bow and arrows to his back. He knows it is finally time for revenge. He will not stop until the Colonel takes his last breath. Together, the 4 of them step out onto a dark, unforgiving path where thousands of deadly dangers are waiting for them. Caesar and his 3 loyal brothers, Maurice, Rocket, and Luca, continue their journey on horseback. Their only target now is tracking down the Colonel. Riding through freezing, snow-covered mountain roads and completely deserted wastelands, they push forward. The icy wind howls around them. Suddenly, they arrive at an abandoned seaside camping ground. Seeing smoke coming from an old shack, they carefully approach. Out of nowhere, a human walks out holding firewood. Seeing the giant apes, the man panics and instantly aims his rifle at them. But before anyone can even react, bang! Caesar pulls out his own gun and shoots the man dead on the spot. His 3 friends stare at him in absolute shock. Caesar had never killed a human without a reason before. He always wanted peace, but right now, his mind is completely consumed by a dark, burning thirst for revenge. They search the shack and find a little girl hiding behind a broken door, curled up in pure terror. She is completely mute, unable to speak a single word. Caesar's mind is so blinded by revenge that he doesn't even look twice at her. He just wants to grab supplies and leave. But the gentle giant, Maurice, walks up to the little girl. He pulls a small stuffed doll from a bag and hands it to her. The girl calms down a bit. Maurice tells Caesar they can't just leave a kid here to die. Reluctantly, Caesar agrees. The little girl climbs up and rides on Maurice's massive furry back. Further down the road, they come across a massive, terrifying graveyard. Hundreds of wooden crosses are stuck in the ground, and trees are riddled with bullet holes. Caesar realizes this wasn't humans fighting apes. This was humans slaughtering each other. By evening, they look down from a ridge and spot a human base camp. Looking through his binoculars, Caesar spots the traitor apes, Red and Winter, working as slaves for the soldiers. Winter is the exact traitor who showed the Colonel the secret path to their cave. Seeing him, Caesar's eyes literally burn with absolute rage. That night, under the cover of darkness, Caesar sneaks into the camp and enters Winter's tent. Seeing Caesar, Winter freezes in pure terror. Begging for his life, he stutters, "The Colonel is gone. He took the army to the border to fight another human army coming from the north." Winter cries, swearing he only betrayed them to save his own life. Suddenly, the sound of heavy combat boots echoes outside the tent. Winter panics and tries to scream for the guards. In a fit of rage, Caesar grabs Winter by the throat to silence him. Winter struggles violently.
until he goes completely limp. He is dead. Caesar looks down at his own trembling hands and shivers. He realizes a horrifying truth. He is slowly turning into the ruthless, hateful Koba. The next morning, they head toward the border. On the way, they find 3 human soldiers shot in the back and left for dead. When Rocket rolls one over, the man suddenly opens his eyes. He is still alive. But just like the little girl, he can only grunt. He cannot speak. Terrified, the soldier runs off into the woods.
Later, they climb a high radio tower to scout the area. Looking down, they spot a strange thief trying to steal one of their horses. They immediately chase the thief through the snowy hills, finally cornering him in an abandoned ski lodge. As they cautiously step inside the dark building, the thief throws a pair of binoculars and a gun at them, then slowly walks out with his hands up. Caesar looks in absolute disbelief. The thief isn't human. It's an ape. Wearing a human winter jacket and a beanie, the strange ape stutters in broken English. "Bad ape, I am." Bad ape. Caesar asks where he came from. Bad ape explains that after the virus wiped out humanity, he escaped from a human zoo. The humans there always yelled at him, calling him Bad Ape, so he just kept the name. Caesar realizes that on this dark, painful journey, they have found an unlikely companion who is just as lonely as they are. Bad Ape takes them to his cozy little hideout inside the old ski lodge and offers them food. For the first time in days, they sit down to eat in peace. While eating, a small package catches Caesar's eye. Written right on the front are the words, "Border Quarantine Camp." Caesar shows the package to Bad Ape and asks, "Where is this place? Do you know it?" Bad Ape takes one look at the package and starts shivering in absolute terror. He stutters, That is a human zoo. I was trapped there. Sick humans tried to escape and soldiers shot them dead. I barely escaped with my life. I am never, ever going back there." Caesar realizes that Colonel McCullough and his army have headed to that exact camp. He begs Bad Ape to guide them, telling him it is a matter of life and death, but Bad Ape completely refuses. That night, as everyone falls asleep, Caesar sits silently staring into the fire. Maurice's massive furry body keeps the little girl warm as she sleeps peacefully. Bad Ape slowly walks up to Caesar, looks at the little girl, and asks, "Do you have children?" Caesar's voice drops heavy with grief. "I had 2. Humans killed them." Bad Ape had also lost a child once. Hearing Caesar's pain, tears well up in his eyes. He truly understands Caesar's agony. Softening his tone, Bad Ape wipes a tear and says, "Okay, tomorrow I will take you to the camp." The next morning, they hit the road again. As they trek through the mountains, the environment feels strangely peaceful. While walking, the giant, fierce gorilla Luca plucks a beautiful pink cherry blossom and gently tucks it behind the little mute girl's ear. The girl's face lights up with a bright smile. Maurice even teaches her how to ask for water using sign language. These tiny, beautiful moments bring a glimmer of hope to their dark journey. It feels like even in this apocalypse, a little humanity is still alive. But after crossing miles of frozen wasteland, they finally reach a high ridge and look down. What they see is pure nightmare fuel. Down in the valley is a massive, heavily fortified military camp. Giant stone walls, heavily armed soldiers patrolling everywhere, and terrifying X-shaped wooden crosses planted outside. Caesar and Luca carefully climb down the snowy ridge to get a better look. They hide behind a snowbank watching the patrols, but suddenly, 2 human soldiers burst right out of the snow and ambush them. A brutal, close-quarter struggle breaks out. One of the soldiers pulls a massive combat knife and lunges straight for Caesar's chest. Without a second thought, Luca throws his massive body in the way, pushing the soldier aside to save his leader. But the knife violently plunges deep into Luca's stomach. Rocket and Maurice rush down from above and knock the soldier out cold. They quickly carry Luca back up into the safety of the woods. But the wound is way too deep. Groaning in agony, Luca looks up at Caesar and tries to force a brave smile. Seeing Luca in so much pain, the little girl breaks down. She gently takes the pink blossom from behind her ear and places it in Luca's massive hand. Luca stares at it, slowly closes his eyes, and takes his final breath. Caesar is completely devastated. He is furiously angry with himself, realizing that his blind thirst for revenge is the only reason Luca is dead. He turns to Maurice and says, "Go back, all of you. I won't put you in danger anymore. I fight alone." Grabbing Rocket's shotgun,
Caesar sprints completely alone toward the deadly military camp. Maurice and the others watch him go, deeply worried for their leader. Under the cover of night, Caesar sneaks right up to the edge of the camp. He looks down into the facility, and his blood runs totally cold. Trapped inside giant iron cages are hundreds of apes from his own tribe. They are freezing, starving, and crying in misery. Caesar quietly breaches the perimeter and spots an ape named Spear tied to one of the wooden crosses. Caesar quickly cuts him down and whispers, "How did this happen? You were supposed to be in the desert." Spear replies, "The humans ambushed us in the jungle. They captured everyone and dragged us here. Now they are forcing us to build a wall for them."
Caesar's heart sinks. He's just about to ask about his surviving youngest son when suddenly, bam! A soldier's rifle butt violently smashes into the back of Caesar's head. Before Caesar can even react, he collapses to the ground. Right before he blacks out completely, he sees the face of his attacker. It's the traitor ape, Red. Red drags Caesar's unconscious body straight into the heart of the enemy camp. When Caesar finally wakes up, he finds himself in absolute hell. His entire tribe is locked behind bars, looking at him with pitiful eyes. They thought Caesar had come to save them, but now their leader is a prisoner too. In that exact moment, Caesar's personal mission for revenge completely transforms. He realizes this isn't just about killing the colonel anymore. He has to liberate his entire species, or they will all die in this frozen hell. Caesar regains consciousness in a pitch-black room. His body is entirely broken, his hands and feet bound in heavy iron chains, and a thick iron collar is strapped tightly around his neck. Out of the shadows, Colonel McCullough steps forward, staring directly into Caesar's eyes. "Your eyes," the colonel says, fascinated. "They look almost human." Caesar growls with pure venom. "I came for you because you killed my family." The colonel's voice is chillingly calm. "I came to kill you. I killed your wife and son in the dark by mistake." Caesar's blood boils. He wants to tear the colonel apart, but the heavy chains hold him back. The traitor ape, Red, grabs Caesar's chain and violently drags him outside. Outside, Caesar is greeted by a frozen nightmare. Hundreds of his apes are locked inside massive iron cages. Seeing Caesar, they turn their faces away in despair. They thought he was their savior. Now he is just another prisoner. Suddenly, Caesar hears a tiny voice calling out to him. It's his youngest son, Cornelius. Caesar's heart shatters, but he forces himself to look away. He knows if the colonel finds out that's his son, the boy will be executed on the spot. At the crack of dawn, a deafening siren blares. The guards and traitor apes crack their whips, forcing Caesar and the others out to build a massive stone wall. The apes are starving, freezing, and exhausted. While carrying heavy rocks, an elderly ape collapses. He simply cannot get up. Red immediately steps in, brutally whipping the old ape. The colonel orders Caesar tied to an X-shaped cross in the middle of the freezing courtyard. Left to freeze all day, Caesar is later dragged into the colonel's office at night. Caesar asks him, "I saw your soldiers preparing for war. Who is coming to attack you?" The colonel then reveals a horrifying truth. The virus that wiped out humanity 15 years ago. It is mutated. Now it doesn't kill humans, it strips away their ability to speak. They're devolving into animals. I even had to shoot my own infected son. The army coming to stop me, they want to protect these mute humans. I am building this wall to ensure the survival of the human race. Caesar realizes the colonel has completely lost his mind. He is a madman, blinded by his own species' arrogance. Meanwhile, watching from a high ridge outside the camp, Maurice, Rocket, and Bad Ape know they have to act fast. While trying to hide, Bad Ape accidentally falls backward into a sinkhole. But this accident is a miracle. Rocket and Maurice realize it's an old underground tunnel that leads directly beneath the ape cages inside the camp. They furiously begin digging. Back in the camp, Caesar is near death from the freezing cold. Red cuts him down from the cross and throws him into a small cage. The colonel needs Caesar alive to keep the apes working. Half dead, Caesar lies on the cage floor. Suddenly, a tiny figure appears in the shadows. It's the little mute girl, Nova. She sneaked into the heavily guarded camp all by herself through the underground tunnel. She presses her face against the cage, hands Caesar the stuffed doll, and feeds him water and food.
Every ape in the camp watches this pure act of human kindness in absolute silence. One ape slowly raises his hands and forms a fist above his head, the sign for apes together strong. One by one, every single caged ape raises their fists in respect. Caesar's will to live is reignited. Nova safely sneaks back out through the tunnel, but in her rush, she leaves the doll behind in Caesar's cage.
The next morning, the colonel steps out onto his balcony and addresses his troops. "Our true war is against our own kind," he shouts. "The army coming to stop us doesn't understand that if we let these mute-infected humans live, our existence is over. We must build this wall. We will never surrender." After the speech, Caesar is brought out to break rocks. From the high ground, he watches the camp. He notices Rocket and Lake pretending to work while carefully measuring the distance between the adult cages and the children's cages. Rocket makes a subtle hand signal to Caesar. Caesar instantly understands. Rocket and Maurice have successfully dug the escape route. Now, they just wait for nightfall. Night descends, bringing a freezing, howling wind. A guard named Boyle is standing in the watchtower, drinking coffee. Suddenly, splat! A wet ball of mud hits him right on the head. Furious, Boyle looks down at the cages, climbs down the tower, and marches straight into the adult enclosure. He raises his rifle and yells, "Who threw that?"
The apes back away in fear, leaving Rocket standing alone in the middle, holding a handful of mud. Boyle aims his gun to shoot, but exactly at that moment, Maurice's massive hand bursts out from the underground tunnel, grabs Boyle by the leg, and violently pulls him down. Before Boyle can even make a sound, he vanishes into the earth. Rocket quickly grabs Boyle's gun and keys. Silently, Rocket unlocks the chains. They wait until the lights in the colonel's quarters go completely dark. Once the coast is clear, Caesar and Rocket quietly slip out and unlock the children's cages. Caesar tightly hugs his youngest son, Cornelius. Using the overhead wires, the apes silently cross over the patrolling guards, dropping the children down to the waiting apes below. One by one, they start escaping through the underground tunnel. But Caesar doesn't go down. He stands there, staring at the colonel's tower.
Rocket looks at him. "You are not coming." Caesar replies with a heavy, broken voice. "I am just like Koba. I cannot leave without killing the colonel." Suddenly, the ground starts shaking violently. Bad Ape looks out into the freezing fog and sees massive military tanks and armored vehicles rolling in. It's the Northern Army. The moment they arrive, they unleash a devastating barrage of missiles and artillery shells. Absolute chaos erupts as a massive, destructive war begins. Explosions light up the night sky, rocking the entire camp. While the colonel's soldiers desperately fight off the attackers, Caesar sneaks past the guards and leaps through the open window of the colonel's tower. He steps inside, pistol in hand, ready to finish this. But when he looks at the colonel, he is completely shocked. The colonel's nose is bleeding, and his eyes are totally lifeless, just like an animal's. The colonel tries to speak, but only animalistic grunts come out of his mouth.
Caesar looks down at the floor and sees Nova's stuffed doll. It all makes sense now. When the colonel took the doll from Caesar's cage, he got infected by the mutated virus. Nature itself had punished him for his extreme cruelty. The colonel looks at Caesar with pitiful eyes. He grabs Caesar's hand, pulling the gun right to his own head, begging Caesar to end his miserable life. But Caesar realizes that killing this pathetic, broken man will not bring him any peace. He slowly lowers the weapon, leaves it on the bed, and walks away. As he steps out the window, he hears a single gunshot. The colonel has taken his own life. Outside, the war has turned into a pure bloodshed. The Northern Army breaches the walls. Caesar runs to escape, but freezes in horror. The soldiers on the wall are using heavy machine guns to slaughter the escaping apes.
Caesar knows he has to take out the machine guns or his entire tribe will die. Grabbing a grenade, he sprints straight toward a massive oil tanker near the wall. But as he runs, thwack! An arrow violently pierces his side. Caesar collapses in agony. He looks back and sees Preacher aiming his crossbow for the kill shot. Watching from the wall, the traitor ape Red sees Caesar lying helpless. At that moment, Red's true ape soul awakens. He picks up a grenade launcher, aims it straight at Preacher, and fires. The explosion kills Preacher instantly. Red saves his leader, but a human soldier immediately guns Red down. Red dies, but he dies a hero. Bleeding heavily, Caesar forces himself up. He pulls the pin, throws the grenade at the oil tanker, and boom! A massive, earth-shattering explosion blows the entire wall to pieces. The Northern Army cheers at the explosion.
But their victory is cut short. The massive shockwave triggers thousands of tons of snow to collapse from the mountains above. A terrifying, apocalyptic avalanche is coming. Caesar frantically signals his apes to climb the tallest trees. They scramble to the absolute top branches. Caesar barely manages to climb up as the colossal wave of white snow crashes down, completely burying the military camp and the entire northern army alive. In a matter of seconds, every single trace of human existence is wiped out under a blanket of snow. When the snow finally settles, Caesar looks down. The humans are gone. Only the apes survived. Seeing Caesar, every single ape raises their fist in the air, paying the ultimate respect to their king.
The apes begin their long journey to find a new home. After days of traveling, they cross a mountain peak and look down at a breathtaking sight, a massive, lush green valley with a beautiful blue lake, their promised land. The apes joyfully run toward the valley. Nova and Cornelius start playing together. Caesar sits quietly on a rock, watching them with absolute peace in his eyes. Maurice slowly walks up and sits beside him. Suddenly, Maurice looks down and freezes. Caesar's wound has been bleeding the entire time. He had been dying for days, only staying alive just long enough to bring his people to safety.
Tears roll down Maurice as he realizes Caesar's time is up. Caesar looks at Maurice and gives a gentle, knowing smile. With deep emotion, Maurice uses sign language. Your son will know who his father was and what Caesar did for us. Caesar smiles a peaceful, satisfied smile. He takes one last look at his free family and his beautiful new home. Then, slowly, his eyes close forever. And with that, ends the unforgettable saga of a true legend. If you guys missed the first 2 parts of this epic movie franchise, make sure to click the videos on the screen right now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more badass recaps.